Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Asian Psycho. I should have made this video a long time ago, specifically right after I released the video of my top 10 submachine guns, but better late than never. Hopefully the sales haven't gone up for the 6th anniversary of Combat Arms before I put up this video. So let's get into it and dive into what I recommend for these submachine guns. By the way, if you guys haven't realized already, as of right now, they have released a Mist Supreme weapon case where it contains every single NX epic in the game, I believe, for 10k GP. Not an X, but GP. And you get it for only one day. So if you think that's worth it, then go ahead. I personally don't think it is, but at the same time, it's, you're getting NX rares and epics for GP, which is always a good deal. So, yeah. Personally, I don't agree with it, but hey, GP users can have a chance to use NX rares now, and epics, and that's always great. So, it makes everything fair. Anyways, that's not what I was meant to do. Here we are. So, anyways, let's go ahead and see what kind of submachine guns are good out there for you guys. So, let's get started. The SR2 Varesk, I've already explained in my review. The SR2 Varesk is a good submachine gun. By far not the best, but it is very good. It's one of the few submachine guns that has 37 damage instead of usual 36, as you might see with a lot of NX standard submachine guns. And the fact that it comes with a unique scope to it that is, specifically complementary to complementary, I think is a word, towards the SR2 is very good as well. So it's kind of a good submachine gun. Well, it is a good submachine gun, and the fact that it comes with its own unique scope that really works only for only the SR2 is also pretty cool as well. So check it out if you want to have a fast firing and high damage submachine gun. Just be warned that it has a lot of recoil as well. So the Chris is obviously on hot sale because, as you guys can see, you can buy it for GP permanent. The Chris I don't really like too much personally because it has a lot of diagonal recoil. Plus the fact that it only has a 28 round magazine instead of a standard 30 kind of annoys me. So I don't know. The main problem I feel like the Chris has is the fact that it has really annoying diagonal recoil. That and its bullet damage doesn't really seem too great, to be honest with you. I feel like it's very weak. In fact, I feel like the Mp5 is stronger than the Chris sometimes. So if once that starts happening, the gun that you're using probably isn't very good in terms of damage. But it is what it is. The Uzi Metal is a pretty good submachine gun. The Uzi itself was kind of an underpowered submachine gun, to be in all honesty. So the Uzi Metal obviously improves upon that. The Uzi Metal is a very fun submachine gun to use. Again, definitely by far not the best, but it's pretty up there if you are dabbling in some GP rare submachine guns. You want to try out some different ones, and the Uzi Metal might just be the one for you. It's really fun submachine gun to use, and I don't really have anything specifically bad to talk about it. The Mp5 RAS, just like the GP standard Mp5, is really good submachine gun, headshot machine, very low recoil. The Mp5 RAS variant has the 3-round burst function, so if you are into burst firing submachine guns or weapons in general, you might the Mp5 RAS might fit your fancy. The only problem is that it has a really high rank requirement, so not everyone's going to be able to use it. So there you go. The P90 do I really need to explain this? Moving on. CC Scorpion Evo 3A1. When this gun first came out, I really believed that it was the best submachine gun out there in the game. Just with straight up statistics. Like, you see this? You see the stat bars? No other submachine gun can compare to this gun in particular, just going by stats alone. 36 damage, 90 portability, or is that 88? It seems like 88, whatever. 88 portability, 88 rated, or 90 rated fire, 70 accuracy, and 60 recoil. There's not a lot of submachine guns that have this stacked, or these stats that are so damn stacked, if you guys get what I'm saying. So, CC Scorpion, if you are looking for cold, hard stats, CC Scorpion is definitely the right submachine gun for you, and of course it performs well, just as well. So, a lot of people wonder why I didn't put the Duel Scorpions up on my top 10 SMG list, and here's why. The Duel Scorpions, even though they are very overpowered, or not overpowered because Omadon would kill me, imbalanced in what they are good at, they're really good at close range. Nothing really can compete with them as long as you can actually hit some of your shots. and if you do, you will absolutely melt people. That's already a given. Everyone knows that. But the reason why I didn't put it on my top 10 list is because it's such a niche weapon. These are not overpowered in the grand scheme of things, because what are you going to use it for outside of close range? You can't even use these things for mid-range. You know, the recoil is way too bad, and you're not going to hit jack shit unless you get lottos all day long. And me personally, I'm not that kind of guy who's lucky enough to get lottos at mid-range with the Duel Scorpions. Not going to happen. So, personally speaking, Duel Scorpions, not a top 10 submachine, because it's not versatile enough. You need to use it for one situation only, and that's right up in someone's right up in someone's ass, right up in someone's face. Either way, take your pick. That's the reason why I didn't recommend it for my top 10. But if you are always finding yourselves in, you know, close quarter situations where, you know, someone's always right in your face, you know, Duel Scorpions might be a good idea for you then. You know, because it's kind of good at that. In fact, it's the best at doing that. The P90 SCF was a part of, I think, a series of 4 submachine guns that Nexon released, I think, a couple years back, where I referred to them as the 36 damage NX standard submachine guns. Not all of them did 36 damage, ironically, but I kind of like to refer to them as that. I believe the CZ Scorpion Evo 3A1 was also part of that kind of series of submachine guns as well. The P90 SCF is a... I don't really know if you want to call it a gimmicky submachine gun. The bad sides to this gun is that really the only main one is that, you know, you can't put an extended mag on it, so that kind of sucks. So you're perpetually stuck at 36 rounds of magazine, or 30 rounds of magazine. It does have 36 damage though, and it does have, I believe, 90 portability and 90. No, it probably has like 89 or 88 portability and 90 rate of fire, but. Let's see. I don't think this gun has a... Does this gun have a burst fire function? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Hold on, let me check. It might have a burst fire function, actually. But, the P90 SCF is... I don't know. This used to be a really good gun until the FMG9 Magpul came out. And when the FMG9 Magpul came out, the P90 SCF kind of, you know, fell out of favor, because the FMG9 Magpul is basically the P90 SCF, except with a lot less recoil and a lot better of a chance to ding people in the head. So, I mean, the P90 SCF is a good gun in itself. The only problem is that the Magpul outdoes it. You may as well just buy the Magpul. So, unfortunately, SCF is a good gun, but unfortunately overshadowed. Chris Spec Ops is, a lot of you guys may already know this, but the Chris Spec Ops is a huge improvement over the original Chris. The damage, I believe, has been improved. It definitely feels that way anyway. And the silencer on the Chris Spec Ops is absolutely sexy. It is it's a very good silencer. I believe it doesn't really give any damage penalty to the Chris Spec Ops like the gun itself, so that might be the reason why it, you know, feels like it deals a lot more damage. And I mean, it has 88 portability and 90 rate of fire, which is, you know, something you expect out of an extended submachine gun. And unfortunately, it still has the annoying 28 round magazine, but in the grand scheme of things, it's only 2 bullets less, so it's not like it's going to make a big deal, unless you actually really depend on those 2 bullets for a kill. And if you do, that's kind of sad. So, Chris Spec Ops, it still has the annoying diagonal recoil, but it's a lot less pronounced because the silencer on the Spec Ops is so damn good. The Chris Spec Ops is, I would say, one of the few guns that, if you were to buy a gun specifically for the silencer that it comes with, or a specific attachment, Chris Spec Ops would definitely be one of them. The silencer on this thing makes the gun itself, and, you know, I love it. It's the reason why I think the Chris Spec Ops makes a top 10 list on my top 10 list for submachine guns. Then Mp7 Mod, I've already explained my top 10 review, or not review, the top 10 submachine guns. The reason why it's so good is because of its 38 damage, and if you can control the recoil, you know, you can definitely rack up a lot of kills with the Mp7 Mod. That, and people don't expect you to do well with it because no one really ever uses it, you know. So, there you go. The M960 is kind of a quirky gun where it's kind of like an NX standard P90, not the P90TR, but an NX standard P90, where it has, I think it has a slightly faster reload, but for some reason it just doesn't do as much damage as the P90. I feel like it's definitely nowhere near as powerful as the P90, and the recoil is definitely a lot more. Plus, I think the rate of fire is less too. The M960 is one of those weird submachines where its portability is actually higher than the rate of fire, which you almost never see. And when you have a submachine like that, you tend to have problems. The M960 is kind of one of them. So you may as well not buy the M960 and just straight up buy P90TR. It does everything for you, and it's got a silencer, and it's stronger. So there you go. Mac 11 is also another, again, one of those submachine guns that I recommended for my top 10. It's definitely a submachine gun you have to get used to, but if you do get used to it, it's very easy to use and really easy to kill people. So that's really all I can say. It's a straight up submachine gun. It does what it does, or it does what its category is intended to do very well, and it has its clear limitations. So there's nothing really quirky or gimmicky about it. It's just straight up good. It's a straight up good submachine gun. That's all I can say about it. And we have the F29 Magpul. The Magpul is obviously, as you guys know, really low really low recoil submachine gun, very good lotto machine, and you know, never mind the fact that it only has 30 rounds per magazine. It's got a really fast you know, reload speed anyway, so it almost doesn't even really matter. So there you go. If you want to have a submachine gun that lottos like a bitch, then you might want to look at the Magpul. The Max's Duel Scorpions are technically statistically the same as the original Duel Scorpions. For some reason, something makes. I think they have a different fire noise other than that, though. But for some reason, I feel like the original Duel Scorpions are better than the Maxes. Don't know why, but I feel like they are. I have both of them for permanent, and I've used them at both at the same time. For some reason, I do better with the original Duel Scorpions, not the Maxes. I don't know why. Just how it is. Micro Uzi, again, one of those submachine guns that I recommended on my top 10. So, I mean, again, just like the Mac 11, where it's a straight up good submachine gun, does what it does, or it does its job well, and there's no real gimmicks or quirks about it. Though the Micro Uzi does start with the a silencer that makes it a lot more stealthy and it makes its recoil a lot more controllable. So, again, Micro Uzi is just like the Spec Ops, where the silencer actually does do a big part in actually making the gun good. The Mini Uzi. The Mini Uzi is kind of like the, I don't know, it's technically part of the Uzi family, but I feel like this is kind of a worthless variant of the Uzi family, and I really hesitate to say or call any, you know, gun like worthless or anything. But honestly, the Mini Uzi doesn't have a place here, because you have the the Mac 11. I think the Mini Uzi is actually the NX rare or the NX standard variant of the Uzi family. If I'm not mistaken. No, you have the Micro Uzi. You're like, what the hell? You have the Micro Uzi that's a lot better than the Mini Uzi. So what's the point of even having the Mini Uzi to begin with? I don't really quite understand that, to be honest. Like, take a look at the stats here. They're basically identical in stats, except for the fact that the Micro Uzi has more accuracy and less recoil, which is completely not true, because the Micro Uzi silencer is a boss. So yeah, there's really no reason, in my experience, no reason to use Mini Uzi. I have these both for perm, and I honestly feel the Micro Uzi is leagues ahead of the Mini Uzi. But if you want to give it a try, because you like the Uzi family so much, then go ahead. The Mp5 Mod, I mean, it's a trusty variant of the Mp5 family. I highly recommend that you guys upgrade to Mark II, because the Mark II variant is a lot better than the original Mp5 Mod. Though the Mp5 Mod by itself is also a pretty good gun as well. It does. The nice thing about the mod, though, is the fact that it comes with the scope and an S3 silencer by itself, or by default. And the S3 silencer actually has the original silencer sound from, you know, public beta Combat Arms, which is very nostalgic in and of itself. So if you guys are looking for a gun that keeps the original silencer sound, Mp5 Mod has it. Oh, didn't mean to check that. The Mp7 Mod, a lot of people ask me why I didn't put the Mp7 Mod in my top 10, and honestly, this was one of the submachine gun families that I did consider putting into my top 10. But after using it for a while, I was like, well, the Mp7 Mod is kind of bad, and so is the Mp7 Mod Steel, because Nexon nerfed them to shit, and the Maze and the Maze Revise obviously are epic, so I can't really use them. Well, I couldn't even use Mp7 Mod Steel anyway, because that's NX rare, so fuck that. But before, the Mp7 Mod used to be really, really good. The recoil used to be a lot less. The silencer sound was so damn quiet you could barely fucking hear it, even if you were like standing away from like 10 feet away. But they nerfed it. They changed the silencer sound, and they increased the recoil, so it wasn't as good as it was before anymore. Now I think it's complete shit. In fact, I think it's so shit that it's kind of like the P90 Mod, where I honestly think the GPU standard variant is better than the NX standard or the NX variants, which is really, really bad. But you know, that makes it so that people don't really bother buying the Mp7 Mod or the Mp7 Mod Steel anymore, because they're kind of bad. The Mp7 and Mp7 Steel, the GPU variants, are actually a lot better, in my opinion. So, I considered putting them on the top 10, but I figured, well, there are a lot of submachine guns that are better than the Mp7, so sorry. I had to give them the shaft. The PP90 mod, again, just like the Mp7 mod, where the GP variants are actually better than the X variants. However, that being said, it's not that much worse. I think it's only a little bit worse, but it's only because of the fact that the silencer on this gun is actually kind of bad. It's not like the MP5 mods or the micro Uzis or the not Duel Scorpions. What am I talking about? The Chris Spec Ops, where the silencer is actually really, really good. The P90 mod silencer is kind of terrible, to be honest with you. It's just a standard NS1 silencer, and it actually does reduce damage from your gun, like the PP90 itself. So, might want to stay clear of that. Scorpion mod. The Scorpion family of guns are all pretty good submachine gun families. They're not like bad or anything, but it's just that no one really ever uses them because a lot of other submachine gun families do outclass them pretty heavily. Though that being said, the Scorpion mod I feel like is a really good submachine gun in and of itself. Like the silencer again is one of those attachments where the silencer actually makes the gun better. So the Scorpion mod I believe does improve the Scorpion itself by a significant margin. So yeah, a significant. Let me talk correctly. Margin. So again, one of those guns where the attachment makes the gun good. The T2. I remember when the T2 used to be good. The T2 was the first of the line of 36 damage submachine guns that I had mentioned before. And when it first came out, the T2 was actually godlike. It was at one point, if you guys, I believe, this is my personal opinion. You guys may not believe me, and I don't care. But the T2 at one point was actually better than the P90 TR. That may sound pretty incredible, but given its statistics and the way it performed, the T2 was actually godlike. Now the Nexon, if you guys probably know, nerfed it to shit, so it's not really, there's really no point in using it anymore. But it's still 36 damage. It might have a lot of recoil, but it's still pretty good submachine gun. Now it's just they nerfed the recoil enough so that the range is actually reduced, like your viable range, your effective range or anything, if anything. So. Unfortunately, T2 used to be good, and then Nexon happened. Don't really have anything else to say about that, though. UMP45 is just, as I've already recommended everyone, or you guys have already seen me recommend this as the #1 submachine gun in the game. But the UMP45 is, again, one of those submachine guns that has 38 damage. One of the only two, or maybe a couple, in my opinion, should be anyway. Where, obviously, 38 damage, low recoil, it's a UMP variant. What more could you ask for? It can't really ever go wrong other than that. So, looking for a strong submachine gun, strong and reliable, UMP45. This is your baby right here, 35 round magazine. It's a Combat Arms classic, man, right here. Get it. The VVRP LPO2, again, this is another one of those 36 damage submachine guns that actually deals 35 damage to 36. And this is kind of a gimmicky submachine gun where I think you can, you can't attach a silencer, you can't attach a sight on it, but you can attach magazine modifications. So, really weird. Nexon's kind of wonky about this, but it does have 90 portability and 90 rate of fire, and it comes with 35 damage and this amount of accuracy and recoil. I forget exactly how much, but apparently it's a Malaysian gun too. But yeah, the VP Roppy LPO2, again, it's one of those submachine guns where it used to be good, then it got outclassed by all the submachine guns coming out. So not much you can really do there, unfortunately. And as for the GP ones, let's go over them quickly. MP5A4, already explained that. Uzi, again, already explained that. Mac-10. The GP Mac-10 actually kind of sucks. I find it really fun to use, but even though it does kind of suck, its variants are the ones that are really good, especially the Hannah's Mac-10. The K1A is actually a pretty good submachine if you know what you're doing, but again, it's one of those submachines that are heavily outclassed by the other ones, so do be careful. I believe the K1A was originally meant to kind of be a submachine gun / AR hybrid back in the day, but obviously as guns like that actually began coming out, K1A, its place really got lost in time. The K7 was the original silent submachine gun before Nexon released all those guns with the with the forced silencers or whatever. The K7 was that submachine gun where it came with the silencer integrated into it, and I believe the K7 silencer was actually or is actually one of those silencers where it doesn't give any damage penalty. I don't think. So I think it was. Maybe I could be wrong, but the only problem with the K7 is the fact that its damage is really, really bad. But again, it was a trade-off for having a gun that already had a silencer. So back when Nexon really knew how to balance their weapons, unfortunately, I don't know how to do that anymore. Sucks, right? UMP, well, this was kind of, I say they used to know how to balance their weapons, and then, you know, the UMP shows up. So, UMP, obviously everyone knows the UMP, best submachine gun, or most reliable submachine gun in the game, and, yeah, they never really touched us afterwards, so what more can I say? The P90, I always say, if you meet me in a game, and you want to kick my ass, use the P90, because the P90 fucking kicks my ass every single time. Nothing more I can say, really. P90 is really, I mean, if you don't like the UMP, but you're looking for a reliable submachine gun, pick the P90. You can't really go wrong with it. Scorpion, again, I mentioned this before. The Scorpion GP standard variant is not that great, but it can be worked with. It can be reliable enough if you're good enough with it. But the variants of it are much better. The PP-19, again, I put it on my top 10 list for a reason. This thing is a fucking spray and pray weapon. That's the reason why I call it the Pew-Pew-19. And yeah, 65 bullets in the magazine. You can't go wrong with that. I am the PP-19. I have 65 bullets in my mag. Your argument is invalid. Get out. The MP7, again, I feel like the MP7 is better than the MP7 Steel. So, or not the Steel, the Mp7 Mod, the NX variant. So, yeah. Which is one of those guns. The Tech 9 was a recently released submachine gun. I think it's very, well, I wouldn't say very gimmicky, but it's kind of a strange one. It's kind of like the opposite of the Chris, where it has 32 rounds in magazine instead of 28, you know, plus 2 bullets. But it has a lot of fucking recoil. It is inaccurate as shit, and even if you're barrel stuffing someone, you're not even too sure if you're gonna even kill them. So the technology is just really, really random. I hesitate to call it bad, but it's for sure just a really random submachine gun. Some people manage to do work with it. I personally don't. I'm not one of those people. So if you're feeling lucky, I guess you can try out the Tech 9. I guess, you know. The Mp5 Sc. So the Mp5 Sc is, I want to say, the better MP5 mod. If you want to try out the MP5 mod, but you never really have the NX, got the chance to get it because it's an NX, you can get the Mp5 SD6, and it's basically a buffed version of the Mp5 mod. Honest to God, that's what it is. In fact, I would say the Mp5 mod Mark II is actually basically on par with the Mp5 SD6. So if you don't want to spend an NX and you're at least second lieutenant 3, just buy the Mp5 SD6 and you're good to go. And I believe it has the same silencer noise, so everyone wins, right? There you go. Very good submachine gun, in other words. The UMP SE, obviously UMP variant, it's kind of like the UMP 45 where it comes with the iTech scope attached, but again, it still has the 37 damage that the original UMP has. But you know, if you're kind of feeling saucy and you want to use the UMP, but then again you want to use the UMP 45, but you never had a chance to because you never had an X, UMP SE is kind of the closest thing you can get to it, even though it only deals 37 damage. But oh well. The Mac-10 SC, again, great improvement to the original Mac-10. If you want to use the Mac-10, but you never really felt satisfied with the Mac-10's performance, Mac-10 SC is definitely what you want to be using. Scorpion Black, again, a direct improvement to the original Scorpion. I believe it deals more damage, so it makes it basically better. So, obviously. So, the Scorpion Black, if you've always wanted to use the Scorpion, but you never really got satisfied with the Scorpion's performance, then Scorpion Black is definitely, you give it a try. The PP-19 camo, strangely, I feel like, yeah, the PP-19 camo apparently deals more damage, but for some reason, I always prefer using the original PP-19. I have no idea why. I can't tell you why, but my experience with it tells me that the PP-19 is better, not the PP-19 camo. But you probably trust what it says on the description. You should probably use the P90 camo if you can afford it and if you're high enough rank, because you know it's obviously just like the PP19 except it deals more damage. So obviously there's nothing bad with buying the PP90 camo other than the fact that you need to be a really high rank and have to have a lot of money. Again, the Mp7 Steel, just like the Mp7, honestly, it's like the P90 where I feel like I'm more comfortable with the Mp7, like the original variant, other than the rather than the GP Ray variant. But again, it's up to you. And finally, the P90 Sc. The P90 Sc technically is better than the P90 because it has a faster reload speed. Unfortunately, I feel like the P90. I'm pretty sure they haven't fixed a reload glitch on the P90 where the P90 just basically reloads as fast as the P90 Sc. So because of that, the P90 Sc is completely obsolete and worthless. You know, you're not getting anything better out of it. So you might as well just buy the regular P90 and you have the same reload speed as the P90 Sc unless Nexon fixes it. So there you go. Anyways, guys, that will do it for my SMG recommendations video. Hope you guys have liked it, and yeah, just basically because there aren't as many SMGs as there are assault rifles in this game. It's your selection of SMGs is actually a lot easier. But that being said, I do highly recommend that you guys watch my top 10 SMGs video if you guys want to see which ones are the most reliable. So, anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.